Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Foolish Minds. I'm your host, Kevin.
And I'm Lou.
So today was just another rather difficult day of programming, I say.
Yeah.
Me and Lou are in a programming class at a CC, and it's not too hard.
No.
It's just very
I don't.
tedious.
Tedious.
That's
yeah.
the word, because we're using this app called App Inventor.
What's a program?
It's a program.
Yeah.
It's a program called App Inventor that was made by MIT.
It's a basic program for honestly anyone with no prior knowledge to coding to use. There's even tutorials online to how to use the program. We'll have the link in the description. So if you guys wanna just play around and make your own apps, it's really nice and cool. So if anybody's interested in making their own apps, you could just go there.
And like I said, it was just tedious just because it's all the blocks they have to deal with. It's the coding. It's
Right.
really nice to design the layout how you want the app to look.
Yeah.
But it's actually the functionality that kind of
Getting
the
it to
most
do
time
the
consuming.
thing. Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't help how much of a pain our professor can be. Our professor is actually very I want to say petty, but I'm gonna say petty.
Okay.
Because a lot of the times
yeah.
a lot of times we have students who ask honest to God questions that they're confused about, but the professor just wants to
Embarrass them.
them because he's like, did I not just cover that?
Yeah, he's like, what did I just say, dog? What did I just say? And we're just like, well, I mean, I didn't pay attention. That's why I'm asking.
And I mean, I understand the frustration as a teacher to have to
Right.
repeat yourself, but at the same time, I feel like you're wasting more time
Doing that.
in humiliating
Yeah.
a person rather than just repeating it. And I understand you're teaching a lesson there.
It's about just getting the knowledge, and it's not even always about stuff of him repeating himself, because sometimes, I think the blonde kid that he made stand up today, I think he had a legit question that he didn't cover, and like he was just like, oh no, you want to teach, like go up, or like, I'm just like, okay, you don't have to fucking you don't have to like belittle him. He felt like you could really tell how embarrassed the kid was. Like he was just really like.
He turned red.
It was really uncomfortable. Yeah, I felt bad for him.
And I felt bad for him in the sense that, like, he's doing his honest work. He's trying to learn. And
Yeah, he's trying to get an A in the class, and he's just like.
however, I will not excuse the people who are doing work while he's teaching and then ask, what did you just say?
That's true. Yeah, and I'm guilty of that from the first day. Remember, or I think it was the first or second day. Remember when he introduced Scratch, and I was like, oh, I got this shit. I fucking know this shit. Get the fuck out of my face. I'm gonna impress this nigga. And like, it turns out, he wanted us to do something completely different, and I was just trying to impress him. And that it backfired on me, because then he's like, weren't you paying attention to what I was doing? And
Lou was probably overly ambitious in that moment because he's used Scratch before. Because prior to going to this school, you said you'd taken like.
Well, I
programming.
started taking an online programming class. And I forgot the website. It's called like EDX. It's a Harvard course. That's made free, available online. Again, if anybody's interested, the link will be in the description. And I haven't even gotten far in it.
But it's a free class, right?
It's a free course. Yeah.
And that's something I feel like people don't know. MIT has free courses, but
Yeah. You can learn a lot. You can get an education with no money. You can get a free education, and a good one.
And something that I wanted to say was I was actually distracted, but good thing he called on me to share, because Lou was actually like I said, took courses already with Scratch, and he was having his little sprite dance and twerk and doing all these kind of like fun things, and I was just like really like amazed that, because I've never used the program before, and I was just staring at his screen, and Lou was there with a big grin on his face, like, yeah, I know how to use this program. And when the professor called you out on it, it was like you kind of felt stupid, didn't you?
Yeah. I instantly realized that I had made a mistake. I was too arrogant, in thinking that I knew everything that I had to know, and at the end, I was the one with the most problems in figuring out what he wanted us to do. So yeah, it was a learning experience. I felt the embarrassment, because he did kind of put me on the spot. He's like, he even mentioned it. He's like, Isn't that weird that you weren't paying attention and now you're the one that needs the most help? He's like, isn't that weird? And that's what I hate. It frustrates me. It doesn't hate. Sorry, I don't hate it. It frustrates me because, like you said, he can be petty, and like he wastes so much time, class time, on humiliating us instead of correcting us.
Right. And speaking of being petty, do you feel like there's some sort of things that teachers can do that makes you kind of like uncomfortable to learn in class?
What do you mean? Try to give me an example.
Okay, for the listeners who listened to our second podcast, I briefly touched upon the subject, but I remember in the first couple of days when he wanted us to get a chessboard, the professor mentioned how he told us where to get a chessboard, but when someone brought up Target, he made a comment saying, "Oh, I don't, I don't like mess with Target anymore. Like ever since they started allowing men into women's restroom, I just stopped like supporting them and whatever."
Uh huh.
And we already discussed in that episode. We just automatically assumed he was transphobic. That's what it was.
Or
And so what I wanted to say was, do you think something like that can prevent you from learning? Like, do you let your own personal like feelings get in the way with it? Because I will admit, I did get uncomfortable,
Mm-hmm.
but I just kind of said, you know what, I'm not gonna like switch out. I'm here to learn, and
Mm-hmm.
unless he's like pushing his beliefs on me,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really let it bother me too much. But do you feel like it should bother someone to the point where they should just leave, or do you think like, do you feel like if there's like a good balance between their beliefs and
Mm-hmm.
their teachings, it should be all good?
Well, oh my god, because this brings up like a whole can of worms. Because I can go on and just because there's also just like the concept of being like a humanitarian kind of person and how like you shouldn't let anything like that happen, and and everybody should like um treat everyone equally and stuff. So I can go into like all that too, but um to I guess stay on hand with this specific situation. um I can't say that it really like affected me, because I'm not I have an issue with people that are transphobic. I personally think that we should all just love each other and care for each other and just look out for each other. There's no we shouldn't have we shouldn't be discriminating on any certain type of person. I feel like that sets us back from learning new things and growing as a civilization. But I think that him I think that the if he is transphobic, then that's not gonna prevent me from learning. Um, on a professional level, as the relationship we have as a student and teacher, I think I wouldn't have any problems. I don't have any issues with that. But on a personal level, I do. I wouldn't be able to be friends with him, for example. I wouldn't be able to like really connect with him, or bond with him, or like again, I wouldn't be able to like be friends with him. But he is my teacher. There's nothing I could do about that. And as long as he's teaching me what I need to learn, and I'm actually learning it very well, and he's doing it in a way that I do learn it, then there's no problem. So I wouldn't say I'd like to separate the two, like the professional and the personal.
Right, and that's actually what I was trying to ask you at first was, I know you said that there's nothing you can do about it,
Right.
but there is. You technically could just switch out and find another class. I
Okay.
know, granted,
Right.
it's a little difficult to find a class
Mm-hmm.
when schools start because classes start getting impacted and
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
don't want to wait and stuff. So, do you think it's fair for someone just to like, would it really just affect you that much if you can find another class?
I mean, if I could, I don't think I would, because the thing is, there's I feel like there's a difference between being transphobic or hateful or racist or whatever, and pushing it towards someone, because he's not enforcing his beliefs onto us. He's not like saying like you should all like be transphobic with me, or whatever. So, And we still, I feel like we don't even have enough evidence to really like confirm that he is transphobic. For all we know, it's just us listening for it. You know, like we're looking for it.
It's kind of how people on Tumblr kind of get easily triggered.
Yeah, like
But
they are now. If you just quiet, like you can hear them right now being triggered one by one, being every single one of them offended right now. Far away.
But that's interesting because I remember when was it? I think it was 2 days ago or something. A professor ended up making another comment that kind of when we after
was it
class.
today or yesterday?
I don't know what it was, but me and Lou looked at each other because like I said, there wasn't enough for us to go off that target statement to say that he was a transphobic. But
sure.
something that he mentioned the other day was Chelsea Manning, and
yes.
For those that don't know, Chelsea Manning's actually transgender.
I don't think I know the correct term for.
He was a guy that turned into a girl, so I'm pretty sure that's transgender.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, Chelsea Manning.
She's a woman.
Is a woman, but she was originally known.
She was born as a male.
As a male, so Bradley. So
Bradley, okay.
I don't really know too much about Chelsea Manning or whatever, but basically it was just a soldier who was convicted by I think court-martial in 2013.
So she was in the military, she was.
She was in the military, and basically she was caught in violation of the Espionage Act, I believe.
Right. Yeah.
And she
gave
she disclosed WikiLeaks. I think it was like nearly 750,000 classified or sensitive documents of the military.
Oof.
And that's treason.
Yeah, like off with their head type shit.
So that's who Chelsea is. And I remember when the professor was bringing her up, he kind of just went, you know what? No. I don't.
He couldn't
I don't
call
want.
her.
Yeah, he refused to call her Chelsea. He's like, no, I refuse to call her Chelsea. What's his real name? Bradley. I think it was Bradley. So someone brought it up as Bradley, and it was really funny because me and Lou just looked at each other like, more evidence.
Yeah, like that's just, it's almost like pointing to that.
But the thing is, like, I feel like just because of the person I am, and I think the person you are, Lou, I'm very accepting of everyone, and in a way, I just don't care about like who you are as a person.
Right.
If you're cool with me, I'm cool with you. That's just my philosophy. So I don't really care if you're transgender, you identify as a cat. Like, I don't care. And, that's just how I am. So when he said it, I did get a little bit more, like, triggered. But I didn't really care because I'm just here to learn.
Right. No, I kind of agree with that. And I think that's where, me personally, I have, like, inner conflict a lot. Because I feel like I have this side that wants to go out to the protests and the marches and all this and be the type that, like, what the fuck? You're transphobic? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? Like, who hurt you as a child for you to be so hateful, or like, why do you have to be so closed-minded, But then the other half is just like, he didn't hurt my feelings. I don't have beef with him, He hasn't started beef with me. The day he does start beef with me, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna kick that nigga's ass. I will fuck him up. I'll fuck anybody up. All right. But again, like, if he is transphobic, I mean, I'm not gonna respect him as a person. But if he can teach me how to program, or an essential part of programming, then, I'm there to learn.
And that's where I think, like, a lot of people are selfish, because a lot of the times that we do have, a lot of the public has this mentality that, well, he didn't offend me personally, so
would you
why do I care?
So would you say that we're selfish? That makes us selfish?
I would say that makes us selfish, just because, like, I mean, personally, like I said, I do care about everyone.
Right.
But, I feel like someone who cares a lot about the, LGBT community and transgender and all that, they would probably just leave the class. They would probably call him out on his stuff and just say, what? That's really disrespectful and distasteful. I don't like it, so I'm just gonna leave your class. And I feel like those are the true people who are very vouching for the rights.
Right.
And that kind of puts me in a bad spot, just because I feel like just because they didn't do that,
both of us,
it's gonna put us in a bad spot, because they're just gonna look at us like, you don't care enough.
Yeah.
Because it's no longer a matter of, do you care or do you not care? It's whether, do you care this much to do this, or you don't care at all.
Right. I think like the whole problem, and like because I've thought of stuff like that before, and I think about it every day. Well, not every day, but like I'm conscious of it. Where I feel like there's just so much of things like that to take into account that living life, it's like it's almost not practical. Let's just let me give you an example. Let's say every single teacher in the school is a transphobic or a racist, and I don't agree with that. So I'm gonna have to change schools. But what if this is the only school I can go to? It'll get in the way when I don't have to respect these people. I don't have to like be friends with them as long as I'm learning, because when they're teaching us skills that we're gonna use to contribute back to society and our community. But he's not influencing us. There's because we have our beliefs, and he's not using the education and what he's teaching us to influence us to believe or to think the way he is. So that's why sometimes again it's a struggle because I feel like sometimes am I doing the right thing, or like should I just follow my heart, and what I think is right.
Right, and since we're already transitioning into this topic of caring, I'm just gonna label it
Karen?
caring. I'm just gonna label it caring. It's very interesting because right now, stuff like the Black Lives Matter movement is the strongest thing that's out there right now because of how strongly people care about.
Mm-hmm.
And
But Kevin, don't you mean all lives matter?
Or Blue Lives Matter, or Cat Lives Matter.
Oh, don't even give me that.
Just for the record, we're not mocking
Anybody?
the cat.
You mean the interspecies?
The interspecies.
Don't even get me started with that. We're not covering that today.
If you guys are up for a laugh, Google.
We'll have the link. Have the link in the description.
We'll have the link in the description.
We gotta make it easy for them.
There was this video about this girl who believed she was a cat her whole life, and she calls herself interspecies or whatever. And
I think the term is called interspecies. She doesn't call herself that, but like that's what I guess society.
She just thinks she's a cat. Like she's
a cat in a human's body
or something like that. I don't
know.
It was
she even
really
meows.
weird. But back to the actual.
Yeah, we're digressing. We're digressing.
No. But back to the actual topic. Like, what do you think about like the whole like, if you don't stand with me, you're against me thing? Because I feel like a lot of times, and my most recent example is the fact that when Trump won the election, remember, because we live in downtown LA, there was a lot of people riding in the middle of the night going to freeways, and I had a friend message me asking me if I'm going to the riot or whatever it is called.
Rally, I don't know, whatever.
The rally, the Super Friends Getting Together event.
Yeah.
And I told him no, and for the simple reason of I was at work. And this friend had the nerve to tell me that I support Trump and I needed to go like.
I mean, don't you?
I mean, I don't know. Yeah. But it was just really weird how he automatically assumed that I wasn't going to the rally, so I automatically like.
Right. That makes you a bad
Trump.
person because you have to pay bills and you have to pay
As
your
it
bills.
is, I only work like very little. So
you work like once a week or something like that.
Something, and like I'm just kind of.
His schedule will be in the link description.
But what do you think? Because I'm getting tired of people saying that like you either care this much or you don't care at all, because you can't. I'm pretty sure people are getting tired of going up to people saying like, "Do you support the Black Lives Matter movement?" And you're like, you know what? Yeah, I think that they're being mistreated. I think this is wrong. They need to have what's it called? They're just
rights.
they need to have rights and stuff,
Oh, yeah.
And you tell them, yeah, I believe that, and they're like, oh, do you want to go to the rally? And then you're just kind of like, no, like I don't want to go. Like
and that makes you a bad person.
That makes me a bad person.
They just write you off.
They will never understand that I have anxiety. I just don't like. I feel claustrophobic in a group of people. Like they'll never understand that.
Or like for my example, like if my mom has strict. Even though I'm my own adult. My mom has strict rules for the house because I'm living under her roof. So if I were to go out that late, that my mom would be upset about that, and then she'd lock me out, and then I wouldn't be able to sleep. So I guess maybe in a way, it kind of like tells you what are you willing to risk, you know. But the problem is, a lot of people see things black and white, and that's probably one of the biggest issues humanity has, that the difference in opinion. So a lot of people may think in they see things in black and white, where I see a very huge gray area, in the middle. Like things aren't black and white, and again, that is just my opinion. But that's how I see it. I see it as a gray area. Because there's no absolutes. And if we're gonna get a little nerdy here, like Star Wars, Siths they deal in absolutes, and Jedi's they're more like they see the gray area. Maybe a terrible example.
That's a pretty good
But
example. Like,
yeah, like, and that's why I hate when people like write me off or write people off, or like Trump. Like everybody, oh my god, he said mean things. We're all gonna die. Like, yeah, I'm not. I was afraid. When he got elected, I kind of did get afraid, because of how he's displaying himself as like this evil tyrant, and like he wants to like build a border and deport like all my family members, and go ahead.
so to elaborate on that, you brought up a pretty good topic that I wanted to talk about. I don't know if we talked about it before, and
What
that
is it?
was how people assume you support Trump
Oh god,
if you don't
if you don't support Hillary, or
if you don't support Hillary.
Right.
Kind of like you were saying, black and white. Like everything's black and white to everyone because there's no gray area.
right.
And the people who believe there's a gray area kind of misuse it by voting for a third party, and they still get mad at those
Fucking
people
idiots.
because no, and I understand this is the most like heated presidential debate we've had in a really long time.
Yeah.
People compared it to the Al Gore incident where Al Gore should have won and Bush did instead, like stuff like that.
I don't remember. I was a child.
I don't remember either, but I actually
I
pay
know-
attention to history.
Yeah, you know more. Like I'm.
But what was interesting to me is just like you said, everything's black and white to people, and you'll never satisfy everyone. And you
that's
know,
also I think that's my big issue. Like, we can't satisfy everyone. We have to like pick our battles, and that. I
well,
think
what do
that's-
you mean by pick your battles?
like for
In the
like,
society that we have right now, what do you mean pick our battles?
like for example, the when we were talking about our professor, like really are we gonna look for another class just because he's transphobic? Like, are we really gonna do that? Like, is that really practical? Like, especially like we're already in class, we're not gonna be able to like add to another class, especially that has a different agenda and a different like they're already like we're already 2 weeks in, that's a lot of homework and work that we haven't done. So like again, like he's not. We have to pick our battles.
And just to paint a scenario that I feel like could pretty much end up happening, what if someone were to write a review of this teacher online for students to see, like, oh, I wonder how this
We can do
professor.
that.
Okay, look, someone writes, oh, I wonder. Someone's thinking to themselves, I wonder how this professor is.
Yeah.
So they look him up online and see what students review him, and someone starts saying he's transphobic. This person feels strongly about transphobia and says, I'm not gonna add him. So a lot of people end up giving negative reviews, and this guy gets out of the schools are like, a lot of people don't like you. We're gonna have to fire you.
Right.
From our experience, we realize that he's not pushing his beliefs onto us,
Exactly.
but that's just who he is as a person. But he's teaching us our content, but he's transphobic, and he lost the job because of it. Do you really think it's fair?
No, because like we all have our struggles. Everybody has their own responsibilities. Everybody has their own opinion. Again, that's probably the biggest issue in the world, is that we all have our difference in opinion, and don't stop to think that like, oh, this guy has his own problems. He has to pay his own bills. Like in that scenario, he loses his job. I'm not sure if he has kids, but like if he has kids, how's he gonna pay their tuition, or how's he gonna pay rent? How's he gonna like keep them fed? Or if he has a wife, like how's he gonna provide for his family?
And something that I want to also imagine in that scenario is the fact that a lot of these people are willing to push off someone rather than change them.
Exactly.
And I know this is something you feel strongly about.
Oh yeah.
And it's something we feel strongly about, really.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's the fact that someone comes across this transphobic person, instead of trying to get them to understand, they push them away to the point where they don't want to like have them exist. They don't want them in their circle. They want them rid of them, because they don't want they don't want to have that sort of contamination in the perfect world, And a lot of the times I feel like instead of writing off people, you need to actually understand them. And for all you know, like for example, guys, if you met a person and you found out something about them that you didn't like, you're more than likely originally going to belittle them. You're going to think lower of them. You're going to think they don't deserve to breathe the same air as you. You're just going to hate them.
I mean, but that's because I'm above everyone else. But
that's your personality.
Because I have a God complex.
And that's something I found really interesting. It's the fact that we're not willing to push for a change. Some of us, not all of us.
Right.
But some of us aren't willing to change. They just rather push them off the edge and pretend they never existed, rather than what me and Lou feel strongly about is educate them, bring them into a circle, and expand the community.
Because we're not all in agreement. And there was a picture with with captions. I forgot what it specifically said, but it's something that I've always really kind of emphasized to people that are especially like that, where they see somebody that's stupid or that doesn't know what they know, and they're like, oh, you're an idiot, you're a retard, and they write them off like that. It was said, I don't remember what specifically it said, but this is a perfect example. Don't belittle me, educate me. Don't look down on me, don't humiliate me just because I don't know something, because it's not, it's something that I always bring up, and I always will bring up. It's not bad. It's okay to not know something. It's okay to, be uneducated. And I don't mean that it's okay as in like live life like that. I mean, if nobody taught you something, how are you expected to know it? Even in the case for me, I went to school. I went to public school. I didn't pass my classes. I didn't pay attention. So I missed out a lot. I don't know anything about history, or I don't know what you know about history. You have more knowledge in English. You're educated in math, and I've fallen behind. I'm trying to catch up. But that's no reason. That doesn't make me any less of a person than you. And that's something that a lot of people do not understand. And especially like in communities like for League, for example. I know you love playing League of Legends. League of Legends is a MOBA. What was the game? What was it called? What was it stand for?
MOBA stands for Massive Online Battle Arena.
So yeah, for those of you who don't know, it's a game played by five with a team of 5 versus another team of 5. The community is so toxic, and that's probably one of my that's like a good example of people that belittle somebody instead of trying to make them better. They just say, "Oh, you're a fucking scrub, drink bleach," rather than be like, "Hey, you know what? Maybe next time try using your skills this way." No, they fucking go straight for the arrow that like, "Oh, no one loves you," fucking insecurity.
And it's actually just a very interesting topic. I know we went into that gaming realm for a bit, and I'm going to stay there for just a little bit, like a little smidge more, by saying, from Lou's experience of playing with me, I actually take comments like that very seriously, and I get very, I'm going to say triggered for
emotional.
fun.
You get very emotional.
I'm going to say triggered for fun, but really it's me getting emotional because I know what it's like to have friends who like genuinely want to like kill themselves, and I have friends who genuinely just don't want to live. And for someone to be like telling someone on the internet, kill yourself, it's just kind of like, you know what? That's like, that might have been the final straw for someone who was like suicidal. People need to be careful with the words they're saying. And a lot of the times they're getting mad because they don't know how to play the game. So instead of like, I know this is league lingo, but bear with me. Like instead of the jungler telling the top lane, stop dying, you fucking scrub, you deserve, go drink bleach, you're probably better off dead than in this game. Instead of saying that, the jungler could have just easily said, can you stop overextending? Can you farm? You're really weak. Just don't overestimate your power again. There's just better ways to construct a community rather than automatically writing off people and just assuming the world's better off without them. Mm-hmm. And, just to go back into the real world, And like you said, I don't believe we should be belittling people. And genuinely, sometimes I do get offended when I get written off instead of being taught. Like, I hate when people, like, go up to me, and if I said something offensive, they will just tell me, that's offensive. You can go fuck yourself. You're not worthy of being a person to me. You don't deserve air. But I would have much rather saying, hey, man, you know what? This is my experience. This is what I know. This is why that's insensitive, and I really feel like you should strongly consider it.
Hey, Kevin, I feel that way about you.
Go away. But just to wrap up that segment, it's just a lot of times we feel really strongly about certain topics, and we gotta get the voice out.
Yeah,
and our message right now for this segment specifically is,
and for this episode,
teach people how to be a better person, and don't just tell them to go kill themselves, or just don't write them off.
Serious shit.
How do you expect to have a better community, a better earth, if you're not willing to put in the work to build it? Because all you're doing is you're finding people that think like you hold their hand, and you form a tight circle, and instead of having a really big community of warming and closing yourself off from the other people, instead of doing that, why don't you just make friends, teach people? For example, and I'm just going to quickly touch on this, I read somewhere on Reddit that there was this black dude who made friends with Ku Klux Klan members.
Mm-hmm.
And his record...
That's very interesting.
He made friends with them because he got tired of people saying, really insulting things to him.
Uh-huh.
And he tried being their friends. And they all quit the Ku Klux Klan.
Damn.
And in an interview with one of the former Ku Klux Klan members,
it can happen.
They asked him, why'd you quit? Or what happened? And he shared his stories like, my parents grew up racist. That was my ideals, my beliefs growing up. That's what I always thought was right. Until I met him, I think his name was Dave or something. He said, until I met Dave, and Dave changed my world, because Dave asked me, how can you hate me without even knowing me? And that really got me to think, like, why do I hate him? I was just told to hate these people, but I never told why.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, Dave did what we want everyone to do, and that's just don't think for yourself and just teach people.
Yeah.
Dave taught him, look, black people aren't bad people. Why do you hate me? And the guy was just like, dude, you're right. Like, why am I like this?
Did their heads explode? I feel like when white people, a racist white person, is converted, like, to a non-racist white person, like, their heads would explode. Like,
you like black people?
And they're just like, no, like, 'cause they can't handle not being racist. So they're like, my whole life was a lie.
It's just, something I like to see is triggered racist people.
God, I hate that word so much.
I know, I just like using it a lot. Look, I know I just preached to you guys about, like, teaching people and not belittling them, but one of my favorite hobbies to do is really watch videos of triggered white people, because it's just really, it's really funny how, like, sensitive their ego is, and, like, how sensitive their world is to, like, shatter it in front of them.
Yeah.
Anyway, so something I wanted to start doing, and for the listeners out there who've seen my posts and stuff, I want to start doing this college segment thing where we kind of start talking about. It's gonna be accurately labeled as life after high school, because for some of us, after high school, that's when life really began. Just college was a track for some of us. Yeah. So this segment is really about life after high school, and this is where me and Lou are gonna share experiences of what we've been through in the last 5 years since graduating. Mm-hmm. High school, 4 years, and we're just gonna share with you what we've learned and what we wish we knew and stuff. And the cool thing about this segment is it's also gonna be fan driven. So this is gonna be the official invitation that if you have anything you wish to share with us as well as the other listeners about what you've learned after high school and, like, what you wish you had known before you graduated high school, and you just want to share your story so people can understand, like, oh, I'm not the only one who went through this. I'm not the only person who had to struggle like this. Then please feel free to share it with us at our Gmail at foolishmindspodcast@gmail.com. It'd be pretty cool to hear from some of your some of the fans and see what kind of struggles people went through and what they want to share and what we can learn from that.
I mean, and it could be totally anonymous if you want to share an experience that you're embarrassed by,
If it's an experience you're embarrassed by, send it. We will never air your name, nothing. But, just again, this is a segment to build a community with people, to get them to realize that
You're not
college
alone.
is scary, but you're never going to be alone. And me and Lou are going to start off this beautiful segment by answering the questions we're going to bring up. And
Okay.
I'm gonna ask you first. And so the one thing I want to ask you is, what were you expecting when you left high school? Like, prior to actually graduating and leaving high school, what were your expectations for yourself or for anything else when you were leaving high school?
To talk about that, I'm gonna have to give a little context, I suppose. Back when I was in high school, I suffered from severe depression, and I honestly didn't actually think that I would make the end of high school. So I wasn't actually ever thinking about a future. I wasn't thinking about college, but as senior year ended, started to end, and our graduation was approaching. I had to think about a college. I had mediocre grades. I wasn't even thinking about a 4 year university because I there's no way my mom could even pay it because we're very poor. The only option for me was community college. I found out that you could pay for it, so I applied to community college. I was a little scared because I felt like, oh, this is it. Like things are getting serious. Some like things are just gonna go like so fast from now on, and I felt like and back then I didn't care about academics. I feel like I felt forced to go. In contrast to now, where I'm going to school because I want to, but graduating high school, my mom's like, you have to go to college. So it was more like I was forced into it, and I didn't want to. It was more like I was just doing it because it was like expected of me, So I don't think I could say that I was really expecting much, but I was expecting more freedom, which is something that I received, and it backfired because my first year was technically a year off because I wouldn't attend class. I started ditching. It was very terrible because I wanted to have fun, and I was too busy trying to enjoy life. Yeah, so I don't think I could really say I was expecting much, but I thought college would just be basically the same as high school, but with so many like teachers and um advisors telling you like, oh, college is going to be different. It's going to be totally different. It's going to be harder. You have to pay attention, or like the professor's not going to give a crap about you. Um, I didn't take that to heart. I did not take that to heart. I let because it's all about you. You don't have anybody to babysit you anymore. It's like you don't have a bell that rings and says, all right, now you can go eat your lunch. Now you take on the responsibility and like of being an adult and doing the work because that's what you want to do and going to school to get the education. But I had a different mindset back then than I do now. So that's my answer.
That's
What
interesting.
what about you? I know because I feel like you're kind of like on the opposite side of that coin.
Our
At least how I
relationship,
saw it.
the relationship between me and Lou is pretty much a tale of two cities.
Yeah.
Um,
What am I, a country boy? Or am I a
expecting, you're the country boy.
I'm the country boy.
I think for me personally, or my expectations coming in high school were very high, and it has a lot to do with the fact, it has a lot to do with what Lou pointed out, which was it was expected of me, and I don't think I really thought much for myself. I just thought, okay, well, it's just another thing I have to do. And I'm gonna go ahead and say I was a big shot in high school in terms of academics. I was just very focused, very motivated, and very eager to like move on with college because, like you said, everyone was hyping it up, saying college will be the best years of your life. So, expectations wise, I was very high. I was expecting to like continue being passionate about school and being very motivated to pursue a life after high school and go on and do big things. And I was expecting, I was expecting the hard work that was coming for me. So, I mean, I graduated with a 3.8. I got that gold cord in my neck around graduation.
My mom gave me so much shit for not having that.
Did she?
Yeah.
But you see, I graduated with all these fancy things only for me to kind of fall flat on my face. So again, just to clarify, my expectations were very high. I was just expecting to continue to do this grand streak that I was doing already.
Right.
Continue to be a baller in school. Continue to like be socially active in terms of like doing orchestra and all that stuff. Like very like extracurricular. There you go. That's what I was looking for. Extracurricular. That's what I was looking forward to. Like I was just expecting to do all these great things, and
Right.
this is gonna segue into this next section, the next session of the segment, which is what were the realities you faced coming out of high school. And I'm gonna start it off by saying I fell flat on I fell flat on my face. For me personally, I had to move to Pomona, and honestly, that was kind of miserable for me, in terms of I'd never felt so homesick. Even though Pomona's not that far away from LA,
Right.
I felt homesick just because I wasn't constantly surrounded. Because I lived in a small apartment with my family, so I'm constantly surrounded by my brother, my sister, my mom, and my dad. So I've never felt alone. Now I have to share a dorm with two strangers.
But I mean, it was pretty like small, so I feel like you still would have felt.
I felt at home because it was small, but that's it. And
you didn't have like alone time to jack off because you're your two roommates.
that too, the privacy kind of, because the showers, everything was shared. Like, bro, I need my privacy, but I couldn't walk around naked, like nothing. I can't do it at home.
Like, yeah, you make it sound like you do it at home all the time.
I can't. I have a brother and I have a sister.
Would you, if you had like the room, would you just like if you had
if I had a room to myself, maybe.
Yeah. I don't think I would, like, just because I don't know. I feel like I'm vulnerable without clothes. Like it's like clothes are armor.
It's like armor.
Yeah.
So reality, I just fell flat on my face. I started struggling with school just because, and just to make this a note, Pomona is a quarter-based system, so I had 10 weeks to pass a class, and that was just super fast-paced for me, and it was really hard for me to like really settle down and learn anything. So it was just really a struggle. I didn't know anybody at the school. I had to find people to like even like me. I had to find the resources center by myself. I did have Kid City to help me out with a bunch.
Right.
But being the person I am who doesn't like asking for help, it was kind of like, thank you for the help, but I'll handle it. And that's where I kind of ended up falling into a deep depression when I was in my second year. Because I wasn't driving at the time and I had to commute because I couldn't afford the dorming. So I was taking the bus 3 hours to get to school for like sometimes even just one class that was like an hour long, only to go back to a 3 hour commute back. And it was just very depressing because I wasn't doing good in school. I was slaving away commuting time 6 hours a day, and it just became a cycle of me being really unhappy. And a lot of people don't value this anymore or don't know how to put value into this, but your happiness matters.
Yeah.
It determines how well you're gonna do in anything you're doing.
Yeah.
So because I was so unhappy and stuff, it affected my school because I was just kind of hitting the point of like, what's the point, And
nihilism.
Oh, that's when I became a nihilist, when I realized nothing matters in the world. But that was the reality I was faced with. The fact that I was alone, no one was around to help me, quote unquote. Because shout out to Kid City. I know they were always there trying to help.
Yeah.
But I refused to take the help for whatever, for God knows what reason. I just refused it, and I decided just to struggle by myself, and it just put me in a very miserable, dark spot, and
Right.
it sucked.
Right.
And yeah, what about you? What were the realities you faced?
Well, I think I kind of touched up on that earlier when I answered the first question.
Yeah.
I felt more into nihilism as well, like you. I just wanted to have fun. I just wanted to do the things that I did that would make me happy. The reality was it backfired a lot, My relationship with my mother became worse. My living situation changed drastically, or well, not drastically, but it had an impact. And I feel like I've just been trying to pick up the pieces ever since. But something I want to ask you: what advice would you give a high school student that is about to graduate and go to college? What kind of advice would you give them for with like the thought of like how you first came into your college and how the struggles you had of you weren't too afraid to ask for help and make friends. You didn't know where to go. And you felt homesick. With all that, like the issues you had, what kind of advice would you give an upcoming college student so you can maybe do something differently or do that differently?
One thing I would probably tell a graduating senior going to college
Yeah,
is
that.
don't be afraid to ask for help.
Mm.
Because I don't know the type of person we're talking about in this scenario, but this applies to everyone
Right.
equally, and that's don't be afraid to ask for help. You are going to struggle, or maybe not. There's always that prodigy people, that person that everyone hates.
They get like straight A's and they go to parties every weekend.
Like, good for them, good for them.
Yeah.
But in case you're that person who's not the prodigy,
Uh-huh.
don't compare yourself for them.
Yeah.
Number one, if you're the type of person that compares yourself to people, stop right now.
Yeah.
You're about to enter a real world where legitimately no one cares about you, quote unquote. You have yourself to fend for, and you have to learn how it's okay to ask for help. And if you're going away to a dorm, don't be afraid to socialize, mingle, do whatever it takes for you to get to know someone. Because one of the biggest motivators and biggest energy you can get in this world is from being with someone who genuinely cares about you. Find a guidance counselor. If you have a guidance counselor from high school that you're friends with, keep in contact with them. Or if you have friends that are going to a different school, keep in contact with them. It'll get harder and as you get busier, but at the end of the day, I think one of the biggest my biggest advice is don't be afraid to ask for help.
Right.
Because if it gets to a point where you feel alone and stuff, you're not. There's always someone out there willing to help. And that's pretty much my biggest advice is never be afraid to ask for help. Which I probably said like 30 times already.
Yeah.
What about you? What's advice you would give? Okay,
I don't even think I'm in the position to give advice.
For your scenario, if there's a high schooler kid who doesn't think... Because, okay, in your scenario, for your story,
Yeah.
what would you tell a high school kid who's just like you, who doesn't care about anything, who doesn't believe in anything? What are you going to tell them?
I mean, first, I don't know. I feel like you thought I was just gonna start insulting, because I would insult myself so much.
We're not talking about self-deprecation here.
I know, yeah, no, because if I had the chance to go back and tell myself, I'd slap myself, I'd beat myself up. No, but I guess some advice that I would give, I would say, do the things that make you happy. Don't let it get in your way. Don't let anything get in the way in your happiness. But always keep a goal. Always have a goal. And never... I guess... I'm trying to... I'm sorry. I gotta word this better. I guess maybe the way... If I could say it... I could say it in this form. I never want... I always want my present self to be my best self. So I always look for progress. Always try to be better. Don't be content. Never be content. Don't be complacent with where you are or with what you're doing. Always make yourself a goal, and when you finally achieve that, make another one. Constantly, and I know it's hard, because when nihilism kicks in, you don't want to do anything, or if this doesn't apply to anybody, just you have to remind yourself that there's an end game. You have to keep growing. You have to keep looking forward. So just, I guess, never be complacent. That's the big thing. Don't be content with what you're doing, with what you are. Try to always better yourself, and that's something that I think about every day, because when I get those thoughts like, oh, just give up, just ditch class. No, I want to be better. I want to be successful. I want to provide for my future family. I want to change my situation. I want to change the situation that I live in. I think of what motivates you. Think about what you're passionate about. And I know there will be people along the way to discourage you. But you can't let them discourage. You can't let them bring you down. You can't let them say, "Oh, you guys should stop pursuing that podcast because you sound like idiots." No, you have to keep going. You have to believe in yourself. There, in the end of the day, the only person that's gonna make anything happen is you. You have the power, and I know this is gonna sound a lot like what is it those what are those like books are called like self-help books. I don't want to sound like a self-help person, but like really like because I that's something that I've struggled with so much. So that's where I'm out, like that's my output. Don't ever stay comfortable. Like something that you actually said that kind of it really actually I took it to heart, where you said when you're not feeling stressed, that's when you feel like something's wrong.
Yeah.
Because like there's good stress and there's bad stress, but there's also good stress. So that's pretty much all the advice I think that I could come up with.
Like DJ Khaled said, stay away from they.
They
Don't go near they.
They don't want you to succeed.
They don't want you to succeed.
They don't want you to have a bigger pool than Kanye.
So guess what? I got a bigger pool than Kanye. No, but at the end of the day, always strive and prosper. You will always be a better you, and there's always a tomorrow. And to wrap up this college segment, I just do want to say that if you're the type of people that we kind of mentioned, or you feel like you're alone, or you feel like no one understands you, or you kind of feel like you need help if you just need help, period, and like me and Lou just reiterated time and time again, ask for help. And this is one of the main motivators behind us starting this podcast. And if you really need someone to talk to, need someone to release anything to, you have us at foolishmindspodcast@gmail.com. Come on, guys, we're open books.
And for anybody listening that if there's somebody out there that feels excluded, or you feel that maybe anything we said doesn't apply to you, or maybe we could have mentioned something, please let us know. It's always about getting every single all perspectives. We want to get all sides of the spear or whatever. We want to understand everybody. We want to understand everything. We want to be able to help all types of people. So if there's anything that you feel like we missed or we could have said, please again let us know. We really, really encourage and appreciate feedback. Constructive criticism, please, because telling us that we sound like idiots isn't feedback. Not that anybody said that to us, but like constructive criticism, please.
If you're the type of person that gives criticism as in you guys are dumb, that's not criticism. That's just you being.
It's not helpful.
It's not helpful. What the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
What did we? This whole podcast.
Don't belittle us.
This whole podcast educate us. Come on, guys. Don't be that person. So that wraps up the college segment. So that brings us to our much adored AMA segment. Yay! Our AMA segment, and it looks like we only have time to do one question.
It better be a good one. You're choosing. Come on.
I'm choosing.
I know we have a lot.
I gotta go through all these emails. Like, damn.
Oh my god, we have that many.
We have a lot. We already have 20.
What are we? We don't have all the time.
20. When you were a kid, what was your favorite theme song? And in parentheses it says cartoons.
Oh my god.
So I'm assuming.
You know what? I think I already know it. I feel like I could think of more, but I'm just this one. I gotta say.
Go for it, dog.
Teen Titans. The original Teen Titans. Like that's. Oh my god! Like.
And
that's my favorite.
You know who to call.
Teen Titans. Like that. Oh man, I'm gonna go home and watch an episode.
You know what? I'm gonna answer that question.
What question?
Real quick.
This question.
Yeah, I'm gonna answer
You can answer it or not?
Power Rangers theme song.
Oh, really? Which one?
The original, man.
The Go
Power Rangers.
Mighty Morphin. I don't, because that's not the original. Do your research, man.
I know it's not the original.
I don't even know the original.
The original is the Japanese one.
Yeah.
No, but the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the theme
Okay.
song, fucking.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
And this mostly is because I remember because the new Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie is coming out this year, and I'm hyped.
Oh yeah.
So that's always gonna stick with
Do
me.
you want to bring that topic? I know like we're almost wrapping up, but do you want to talk about that? Because we talked about it in the car today.
You know what? I got a better idea. So we're gonna wrap up this episode. Stay tuned, guys, because next episode we're gonna go over the upcoming movies in 2017, as well as we're gonna talk about why Teen Titans was canceled, and we're gonna talk more about in depth of like DC stuff. So if you guys are interested in those topics, stay tuned for the next episode. And thank you so much for getting through this pretty serious episode. I would say
Very crunchy,
very crisp,
very crisp,
very crisp. So. Once again, the college segment and the AMA are always going to be our last two segments. And again, share stories with us, share questions with us. We are open books and open to criticism. And
I like to think of myself more as a computer.
We're computers. Just input us code and we'll spew it out. But thank you so much for listening. Honestly, we're really amazed with all the feedback we're getting. Almost 100 views on the first pilot. A pretty nice 54, almost 60... views on the second one, and we're not going to talk about the third podcast.
What third podcast?
Hey, we don't talk about that.
Oh, you mean where we had Evie as a guest?
That's our second one. What's our third one? We don't have a third one.
I don't know what you're talking about.
This is officially the fourth one, but we're going to call it the third one.
You're worrying me, Kevin. You were worrying me.
Anyway, till next time, I'm Kevin.
And I'm Lou.
And thanks for joining us. Have a good night.